What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Odin Driven. My name is Matt, and I got a good one for you today. Stay tuned. So before we get started, I want to ask that if you are new to this channel, please hit the red subscribe button so you'll be up to date on any of the new content that we have coming out in the future. And without further ado, I want to start off with this nice story time, okay? This story means a lot to me, and it's basically the process that I went through to be able to get my 2018 Dodge Challenger TA392. This story, it's an amazing story. I hope it doesn't go too long, but it just means so much to me, and I want to be able to share it with you guys. So the story starts way back when I was a little kid. I liked cars. I never knew what types of cars were what, except the fact that my dad had an early 90s sky blue Nissan Sentra. My mother had a green Ford Explorer. I think it was like a 98 or 90, it was 90 something, I don't know. It was an old car. Not super duper old, of course, but an older car. And this was really the types of cars that I was just familiar with. You know, we didn't have the cool cars, Dodge Challengers, Ferraris. Actually, we got a BMW later, but we didn't have the BMW back in the day. So I didn't grow up in the car community. I didn't grow up with anything further than, knowing about Ferraris and Lamborghinis and cool things like that. So I could recall back when I was maybe 13 or 14 years old, hey, stop scratching the couch, cat. Sorry guys, the couch is my wife's, and if the cat scratches it on my duty, I'm in trouble. So anyways, when I was about 13 or 14, I'm gearing up, I'm getting ready to get my driver's license in a year or two. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna ask my parents for a certain car, because why not? So I specifically wanted a BMW M3. Didn't know how much those cost, but it was a cool car. Come to find out, it's way more than a 16 or 17-year-old should have. So anyways, that was the very first car that I really wanted. It was a beautiful car. I loved it so much. I eventually grew out of that. I had my eye on, I believe it was a 69 Mustang. I loved the way it looked. I thought, hey, muscle car from way back in the day. But again, just dreams. And more recently, maybe early 2010s, I was looking at the Lexus 350i. That's the one. And so I've been all around with what cars that I've liked, which cars that I thought I wanted, and so it just really came into a culmination of what car do I get. Now I had a couple friends who had Toyota 4Runners, great car, and this was back in high school. They had these cars, and I said, oh man, I really want a Toyota 4Runner. So after graduating high school, I had a little bit of money saved up just for situations like this. I got to get around to go to college and different things. Hey, we're getting a Toyota 4Runner. Up until this point, that was my favorite car ever. The Toyota 4Runner, first and foremost, is the tough car. It was a Generation 3, so it's not the super duper new one that's super cool. It's not the boxy one from way back in the day. It's not the Generation 4 that looks like trash. But it was a Generation 3, awesome car. It had like 185,000 miles on it, but for a car like that, that's really nothing. So I had this car. I ended up putting some nice tires on it, the all-terrain, so real rugged and rough. And this car, you go over curbs, mob, really nothing's stopping you in this. But it came to the point where I was transitioning transitioning out of college, and I was driving around for a job, which I had to drive from one site to the next, and gas mileage would add up. It just wasn't really the business at the time, wasn't getting paid that well, and so it was a great excuse to get a new car. Now, I needed a transition car, and I mention it pretty much in all my videos, at least thus far. Cat, I'm doing a video. Calm down. Sorry. I mentioned in most of my videos, but I previously had a 2017 Honda Civic EX-T. Had a turbo in it, maybe the size of like one of those keychain turbos, like this big. Really, I'm not sure if it did anything, but it sounded cool. I knew it would get great gas mileage, and so I was like, hey, why not? So I ended up taking a 3-year lease on this Civic, and cool car. Nothing against it, but I'm just not really a Civic guy for long term. Again, it was just something that would give me great gas mileage up until the point that I can actually get a car that I truly liked. So I've graduated college. I have a job that's paying, enough to afford the Civic. And I had another opportunity come up, and we'll touch upon that, what I do to afford the car that I currently have. But I had an opportunity to take on a new job, full-time, pretty solid pay, and over the next year, got a promotion, got raises, and ended up making a little more money, and I had a great opportunity. So I started looking into Dodge Challengers, Dodge Chargers, thought these were cool cars. I loved them. I've loved them since I was, I think it was 2016 is when the first time they did that remake on the 2015s. They spruced it up. It looked great. And I said, that's the car I want. But now we got to factor in what trim level. Do you want the base model trim? Do you want the Hellcat? Obviously we want the Hellcat, but can't afford it, man. We're not balling like that. So I'm looking into this car, and originally, I'll be honest, I wanted the Dodge Charger. I thought it was a sexy car. It's amazing. It still is. It looked good in the front. It looked good in the back. But the only problem that I had with Dodge Charger is I couldn't get the base model. I think at the time, I think they got rid of the SE. It was the SXT, and then there was the RT, which was the opener into the V8s. Would have been cool to have a V8 Charger, but problem with the RT is I just hated that front fascia. It's not like the 2019 and the 2020 where they have the cool SRT fascia up front. No sir. It was the not so aggressive front fascia. Didn't look pleasing to me. Maybe to others it does, but it just didn't get it done. So again, long ways away. I got to pay off my student debt. Got to do a couple things, but I had my mind set on a Dodge Charger. My boss at the time, he ended up purchasing a 5.7 Daytona. I think it was a 2017 or 2018. He's going to punch me in the face for getting it wrong, so I'll just put either one. But he ended up getting a Charger. I said, hey, that's just one other person that's got the Charger. It's not that bad. Lo and behold, another coworker of mine got a Charger. Womp. So guess I can't get it, right? Because if I'm the third one that's getting it, it's not as cool as the whole psychological thing. I just couldn't do it, man. So I had to deviate from the Dodge Charger, but last I checked, the Dodge Challenger is the same as that car, different body on it. So I shifted my focus towards the Dodge Challenger. Now, at the time that I'm doing all this research, I was dating my current wife. That sounds weird. I'm not sure why. But anyways, I was dating my wife, but we were boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. Ended up getting engaged, and now I'm locked into focusing on a wedding, setting up the financials for that, and making sure I take care of business. We ended up having to move a little further away from work to be able to make everything work and make everything, our living arrangements good. So now, any research I'm doing on the Challenger, it's not working. I can't afford the gas. I was traveling, I think 120 miles each way. So mind you, I had a lease. I'm killing my mileage on that. And I can't afford to get the car that I want because the mileage that I would be driving, the oil changes that I would have to get on it, gas prices were absurd at the time, and they still are today. Now, I think 8 months go by after us getting married. We were able to move a lot closer to work. and research began again. Now, you got to surround yourself with the right people, and I kind of did and kind of didn't, because when you got people that, your friends, they have nice cars, you want a nice car, right? And you got them whisper in your ear,
Get the car, get a car. Get the car, man. Get the car, buy it. Who cares? It's just money, bro.
So the research really kicked into high gear, and again, the RT came up for the Challenger. It looks roughly the same for all the cars, and I just couldn't do it. If I'm spending money on something, I want to have the best or close to the best. And the RT is a great trim level. It's got the power, it's got the performance, but it just, again, if I'm paying that money, I want to be able to get everything that comes with it. So I scrapped the RT, even if it came with a super track pack, everything like that. I couldn't do it. I scrapped that, and I started looking at different higher trims. So again, I looked for the used Hellcat that might be in the $30,000 range. Psych, it's not going to be there. Sorry. But I did come across some SRTs. I came across some Scat Packs, and I also came across the TAs. Now, there was the 5.7 TA and there's the 6.4 TA. I'm looking through all these cars, and bit of advice for anyone that's looking to get, any car. When you're looking for a car, don't just look at your hometown. Don't look at, Bob Dylan's Dodge dealership over here. Go online, go to one of the car search engine type things, and expand your search. I expanded my search, I think, 500 miles, because I just wanted to have a whole array of cars that I can look at, get the best prices, see which ones have the right mileage, which has the right features, and it just gave me a better perspective on what was around the area. So I'm doing the search. I'm just kind of just joking around, and I come across a couple of Scat Packs and a couple of 6.4 TAs that were within about 300 miles. And great prices on these cars, great mileage on these cars, and only a year or two old. Still have the factory warranty and everything. And it came down to one Scat Pack in Arizona, a white Scat Pack, and it had the red interior. I wanted the red interior. It had it. Wow, it looked so good, and it was at a price that was just a little bit over what I wanted to pay, but I was willing to stretch for it. There was also a 6.4 TA up in like the Los Angeles area, so maybe 2 hours away. And then there was my car, which was about 3.5 hours away over in Peoria, Arizona. And it was at a Ford dealership. Go figure. So I'm kind of looking at all these cars. I'm like, which one do I want? Which one? These are all cool. I can't do it. I can't afford it. The gas mileage, it's too much. But I had people in my ear, just get it, man, just get it. Even my wife, buy the car. Who cares? So I said, all right, let's do this. So I contacted. I have a bad habit of doing this. It's like I went to a fraternity. I only rushed one out of like 10, and they call it a suicide rush. Basically, you're just going all in on one thing. I'm really bad at this. So I contacted that one dealership. I didn't contact anyone else. And I told them, look, I'm a serious buyer interested in this car. And if the price is right on it, and with what you have listed for that car right now, I will drive out tomorrow and I will pick up this car. I will take delivery, take it off your hands, and I'll trade in a very eco-friendly Honda Civic. So we have a back and forth. We're trying to get the numbers right. We're trying to, hey, what can you do here? What can you do with this? What's going on? Hey, when I come out there, I don't need you guys pulling the rug for me. I don't need you keeping me for 10 hours. I want to get in. I want to get out. So down to the morning that I ended up, the morning of the day I got the car, we're still talking back and forth. I'm talking to the sales associate, I'm talking to the manager, and we hammered it out. We got it going. I told my wife, all right, let's go. So we drive out there. It's 3.5 hour drive east. And for some reason, the air conditioning wasn't working in the Civic. It's the middle of the summer. Maybe I ran out of Freon or something. Maybe the motor was bad. I don't know, but it was hot. Okay, you could roll the window down. It's just letting hot air in. If you close the windows, it's hot. It was nuts. But I'm doing anything to be able to get this car because I'm this close to getting my dream car. So we finally, after 3.5 hours, get out there. I pull up and I talk to my guy Juan. And don't you dare. Do not jump on this table, kitty. Do not do it. Yeah. Sorry, guys. This cat is out of control. If you have a cat, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, I went to Peoria Ford out in Arizona. And my guy Juan, the right one, hooked it up. He was out there. He was waiting for me. And we ended up going on a test drive on the car. Now, they got to do test drives. I think it's just it's an automatic step in the car sales process. Even if I said I didn't want one, they're going to make me do a test drive. I'm already out there. I've driven 3.5 hours to get here. I'm not leaving without this car unless something absolutely, completely falls apart. But I'm really happy I went on the test drive because I was so scared. Not because the car was fast, not because the car was heavy, but because the hood of the car was so much different than the Honda Civic. If you've ever been in any other car, really, you have a full sight line. Like there's no bulge on the hood. There's no nothing. You just see everything. But when I sat in the Challenger, it seemed like I was looking through this. Like I couldn't see out the windshield. Mind you, they still had like the stickers and stuff on the windshield on the passenger side. But that hood was so bulky and the car was just a different shape that I sat there, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know. And on top of that, I'm about to drop a pretty penny on this car, so it always puts a little bit of race in my heart. But we go through the process, we do the drive, I'm loving the car. I mean, it's got the power you need, and it feels nice. Plus, I'm sitting in my dream car. Like, it can't be that bad. It can't be that wrong. So we wrap up the test drive. We get back. We start looking at the paperwork, signing things, doing all this, doing all that. And I end up finishing everything out, go into, the guy who's trying to sell me all the extra stuff, and get through that. And then it's done. I think we spent like 4 hours there, which was trash, but again, it was like a Saturday. There's a cajillion people there, so I'm not expecting to get out of there in an hour, but the car buying process sucks sometimes. So we get done, we get out of there. Now I got a 3.5 hour drive back, and it's dark, and I'm hungry, and my wife is hungry, and we're not eating in the car. Okay, brand new car, we're not eating in this bad boy. So anyways, we take it home, and as I'm driving home, I want to gun it, man, because this car's got a ton of power, but I'm sitting here like, am I going to be that jerk off that gets a ticket on the way home from buying the car? No, sir. I don't need the Arizona State Police getting me. I don't need the California Highway Patrol getting me. So I just take a nice cruise home. 3.5 hours later, I get home, and I'm sitting here, and I'm having that sort of like guilty feeling like I just dropped all this money on this car, and am I going to be able to make the payment? I sat around forever going through these pads of papers, going through the finances, and it worked, but in my head, it wasn't computing. There was too much going on, and I just needed to sleep on it. The next day I wake up, the car is still there. They haven't taken it away from me. I can afford it. I drive it to work. I drive it home. People are, oh man, nice car. You got it, bro. You got the car. Now it's all worth it. So I'll close it out with this, guys. it your dream car, if you're a car person or if you have a certain car in mind, you know, outside of Ferraris and you know, Lamborghinis and anything like that, those that might take you a little longer unless you got a good job that you could afford it right away. But understand that you're not going to start out with your dream car most of the time. You're going to start out with a car you like, maybe you don't like, just like the 4Runner. I loved it. You may have one of those transition cars, the Honda Civic in my case, and eventually you'll find yourself in the position where it makes sense financially that you can pull the trigger on your dream car. And when that opportunity comes, I suggest you have your research out of the way on what car you want, of course, but do your research on where you want to get the car from, do your research on the dealership, and take your time. There's no rush. Okay? If I would have rushed it, I would have ended up with a Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger RT, which again, great car, but I wanted more, and I was so happy that I waited because I found myself in the circumstance and the situation that I was able to get a higher trim level for a little bit extra on the price tag, and it was just so worth it in the end. So take your time, look for the best deal, find the right mileage, and pull the trigger. Get your dream car. If it makes sense, do it. Now, if it's going to make you suffer and you ain't got the money, and don't do it, man. But if you could pull the trigger, get it. So if you sat through this video, I think it's like 20 minutes, but it's a long story. I love this story. It means so much to me. I thank you so much. I appreciate you staying on with me. And I promise you I'll have some solid videos coming up in the future. I already have a list of videos that I want to get done. There's some car shows that are going to be happening. We're trying to make a car club, but everyone's got different schedules. So I got a lot of cool content coming up, and I just ask that you guys stick with me. If you're new here or if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you can be up to date and one of the first people to see my videos come out. And if you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. And finally, please share this with your friends and family. I'm trying to get people to see this, man. I'm trying to make this channel go big time. Okay, we're currently sitting at 3 subscribers. I thank all 23 of you for subscribing to my channel. You guys are the original, the foundation of this channel. And now it's time to get the news out to everybody that the Odin Driven is the real deal. This is a fun channel. So thank you again, guys. I appreciate you so much. And without, holding you up anymore, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys have a wonderful one. I'll see you next time.